Hey guys, it's Luke at Luke's APS, and in this video I'm going to show you some weathering and moss techniques and just getting plain dirty. So this video is going to take you through some really quick and simple weathering techniques, whether it's from the moss right through to just some dirty weathering powder techniques and how to fix them. Everything in this video is very simple and easy to do. Don't be worried when using weathering powders. I was quite worried about using them when I started out, and after using them for the first time, they're so simple and very easy and forgiving. So sit back, relax and enjoy the video. So the products that we're going to use for making the moss paste is my 2-in-1 fine foam flock. The reason we use fine foam flock is it's a lot fluffier and it sticks a lot better to your models. Now put it all in a cup. My aim was very off this evening, like most males, can't get it in pot. Just mix that with matte medium, PVA glue, gloss if you want it to be wet, and water all over your desk and model. Mix it together till it's a nice thick paste. And then just apply to your building. With this technique, just put it on guys, it does dry completely different to how it looks at this moment. So it looks a lot nicer just because it's sort of you put it on, you've got no real control of how it's going to look at the end, and that's why I like it, because once it dries it looks a bit more natural than you actually placing the flock where you want it. However, this will take quite a while to dry, so once you've done this, give it overnight to dry. Right, so it's the next day, I've let it dry, and what usually happens when you use one colour of flock, as you can see, it's a bit saturated is the green. It's nice to get some of them browny colours in, and maybe some touch of yellow, which we'll cover later on in the video. But what I like to do at this step, because it looks good, but you can make this better with a very simple step. What I like to do is get like a dark brown wash and just lay it round in areas, so you can sort of really add an extra step of depth to the moss on the roof, especially where the roof sort of fell in a bit as well. Or on the higher bits where some of the moss is, where it'd be a bit drier. You can get some really nice effects just using a bit of wash. It darkens down the green a bit and stops it from being oversaturated. So let's get that bit done, and then we'll move on to the weathering powders where it gets all exciting. See you in a sec. Right, so I'm going to be using a couple of different weathering powders. They can be purchased from many companies. I will put some from Amazon below. All you've got to do is just dust them on, guys. Dry brush, and just stick them where you think the dirt would be. If you do overdo it, don't worry too much. You can just use a dry brush and just keep rubbing it till it disappears. But if you feel like you've really severely got it wrong, add a lot of water and then just sort of dilute it to the point where it'll disappear. Before proceeding though, just let it dry. And I just do this all around the base of the house, just picking out all the areas that I think it'd have dirt from, obviously when it's rained and wind and all that sort of stuff. Now, putting it on dry like this is okay for like a really fine dusting. If you are wanting to get like a more heavier texture and it really builds up, just damp your brush. Don't wet it, just damp it. And as you can see, it will go on a little bit darker because it's wet. As you're putting this on, all the pigments will sort of join together and give you a rougher finish, which looks like heavier weathering. And just do this again round the building where you think the sludgy dirt will be. And once you've done, it'll look a little bit like that. It will lighten up, however. Now I'm using a bit of grey weathering powder just to simulate some sort of dust. The bricks on the house are grey as well, so I just sort of did it just to add a bit of overall dust. There's no real logic to this, I just thought I'd give it a whirl. And dry mud, when it goes really dry, it gets like a grey brown as well, so I just added a little bit. Now for the moss, I actually had a bit of green pigment powder that I didn't know I had. So what I'm doing is I'm just applying a little bit to the roof. As I was saying earlier about adding a little bit of yellow, I thought I'll go on with a paler green because it's quite a muted green is this, and it's a nice highlight. But with it being so fine and dusty as well, it just gives you a nice covering all over the house. Just apply this on the higher areas where you want the moss to be a bit more apparent and dry, and a bit finer if you feel like it needs a little bit more.
There's no real technique with this, it's a taste thing. Just apply it till you're happy. If you've put too much on, like I've said, you can just blow it off or brush it down till you're happy. If you really want to get adventurous with your builds, you could wind up some wire like this and just grind up some dry leaf coverings and stick them to the branches, and then just fix it. With it being wire, you can bend it and fix it to the building. How I'm doing that is just with a splodge of super glue, using the tweezers to press it into the building, and same with it on the roof, so it's sort of growing over like creepers. I just put a really small amount of gel super glue and then press it on with the tweezers till it's dry. If you do have somebody helping, or you have a free hand, just get some activator and give it a quick spray, but I'm trying to fix it all at the same go, and just holding it for a couple of minutes does the same trick. So for locking all your weathering powders in place, I just use a matte varnish. This is from Army Painter, the Ultra Matte Varnish they do. Spray it from a distance so you don't blow all your weathering powders all over the place, and once it's had a coat or two, just apply a bit more and a bit more till you've got enough on there just to hold them secure. And once it's finished, it's going to look like that. It's took a very nice looking building as it was to start with, and just added a few more details, telling a little bit of a story of its age, how well kept it is, and it just adds a little bit more to it. I really do like the weathering step. It really finishes it off. It sort of tells a story of the age of the house, how it's kept and everything else. It just really polishes off a model and adds a bit more life to your miniatures. Tell me what you think in the comments below.
If you want to support me, any of the products used in this video can be bought from my store. The products that we don't sell, like weathering powders and things like that, if you are interested, there'll be links on Amazon as well, which you can also purchase them from there. So yeah, I hope you've liked this video, something a bit different, and I'll see you again for the next video. Love, love, love. Don't know why I'm doing this camera angle in here though. I think it's just laziness. I can't bother redoing my white balance and everything, but what do you think? It's easier. Just getting lazy. In a bit.